Hey everyone, welcome back to Brick System Brothers. Nathan Masters here to do part 2 of the Market Street rebuild. This was one of the original modulars, as I have a couple other ones up here for some context. This one 2014, and this one just last year in 2020. The Market Street goes all the way back to late 2007 when I actually bought it during its original release. So getting pretty hard to find these first three actually. So the Market Street, the Cafe Corner, and the Greengrocer kind of make up the original three that kicked off the product line, which has become very popular and collectible. Happy to have Market Street in my collection there. Cafe Corner and Greengrocer, didn't actually buy those upon release. Definitely looked at them, but I think I was 11 or 12 at the time, didn't have that kind of pocket money. Did have enough for Market Street though, and during this project, now that I do have a little more pocket money and a larger Lego collection, I am adding in a color swap version of the set without kind of this section here, just kind of copying this part of the building. I'm doing the dark orange for the bottom floor, and as we get into the video, I'll be choosing the next two colors. The original building continues up with medium blue, so I'll be using the instructions as the template to continue here, except just to add a little more variation, all the internal details are going to be mirrored. So stairs go up this way in the original, stairs going up this way in the copy. Just another thing to add in, make it a little more interesting. And then as we wrap up, I will kind of do an overview of the original set, an overview of my color swap model. But for now, let's jump into the next floor of Market Street. Previously leaving off from step 22 in part 1 of this two-part video series on rebuilding the Market Street set. We finished up this street side where it has the little alley and it's pretty mostly open back in there, and then a little bit of detail more out on the sidewalk. From there you build up the basement, kind of the footing section, and the first floor, and as I built up that first floor I was building my color model onto the side. So that got us all the way up to the tiles on the first floor, and what I've put together here just before I started recording are the two floor bases for the next level. On the original model, this is dark gray and light gray. On my color swap, I'm starting with the brown to match the tiled layer I put on the end of the last part, that first floor. So from here on up, the original set is medium blue with some tan and light gray accents. Kind of an open slate for my color swap at this moment. I am almost out of the dark orange. I think I used all of my dark orange pieces to build up this bottom floor, at least in my 1x8 and 1x6. So not too many left in that color. I do have significant amounts of tan, dark red, and the nugget color. So those are some options. Of course, if I do go with that nugget option, it's going to match the bookstore. So it wouldn't necessarily be the end of the world to have two buildings the same color in a city or in a street lineup, but it would kind of limit placement options. Maybe putting them next to each other wouldn't look the best. The tan I like because there have been a couple tan modulars, but I don't have the Emporium or the police station from this year. So those would be the only predominantly tan modulars, I think. And not having those, I can probably build up with tan the top two floors, maybe accenting that with the dark red to get that color into my modular buildings collection. Of course, this one, not an official modular building, just to have that variation. So I might go with that tan. We'll see how it looks on top of the brown. From here, having these floors built, it is time to start laying some bricks. I probably won't do the time lapse today. I'll just check in once I have a significant portion done. Checkpoint number 1 is about halfway through the second floors, both buildings. Original Market Street is mostly medium blue with some bluish gray textures, and then it actually does use some tan here. the official set has some filled in windows, kind of a suggestion of maybe a renovated building. So for my color swap, I am putting in some standard windows instead of filling it in, but it's kind of to match the same layout, just as if the windows didn't ever get filled over. So again, with the mirroring here, the steps will be going up this way in the official set, so the color swap will be going up that way. Also, all of the textures are getting swapped from side to side. So when you look at, the sides that have been facing each other, they should match up in terms of where those textures are. And for the color swap, I did go with the tan, and my variant color is the nugget, kind of a sandy brown color. And I'm using these masonry as the texture brick. So moving forward a couple of pages here from where I started. And actually, this floor will use up most of the remaining medium, your solid color brick for both buildings, because the top floor, it does have a peak that is mostly this color, but everything behind the peak is mostly roof slopes, which I'm not entirely convinced I'll be doing for the color swap building, but I am keeping Market Street original. So a lot of this wall building will be coming to an end even during that third floor construction, because once you get there, it is a lot of roof slopes. I guess there is some with the dividing wall, and the back wall is filled in as well. Maybe not quite as many roof pieces as I thought, but still more than what we've got so far. So going with the black trim on the color swap, and I think this floor also has some interesting window awning construction, which is what these built-up pillars will be utilized for, coming in shortly. Keep going. Getting pretty close now, up to these little finishing details. I think the awnings turned out really good. I was able to match the color combo, the dark red and the white, to the awning that I put on the first level. So there is a little bit of continuity just going from one level to the next in terms of where things are, like above windows and above doors. Ended up putting in this red door here to mirror the light gray, and this is one of those doors that's going to be harder to find on the secondary market, I think. Was just not in very many sets, so very glad to have this on hand still. I was pretty sure I still had all the pieces from the original, and I didn't trade or sell anything, but you never know till you actually go and look in the bins. So that mirroring still working out, and just a couple more pages here till we put the tiles on the middle levels. Second floors are done for both models. Really liking how the red is turning out on here so far, with the door and the window frames. I did do a quick swap. These were light gray. Some of these jumper plates were light gray down here, and they needed to be this black color to match the frame on the top. So that was a pretty quick fix. And then I'm copying the railing design for my balcony railings on this. I did try a couple of alternative designs using these flex hose pieces just to see if I could get the shaping a little bit closer with the end of the tube here to the door, and it wasn't really working out. So I just made a direct copy of the official Market Street design, and that leads me to kind of the first major challenge I've encountered, which is tracking down all of these white hoses. And coincidentally, these white hoses are one of the most expensive pieces in the set. Even just getting a used one on a good day is $5 to $10 a piece. So really hoping I can track those down. I haven't been able to find 3 of the 4 white hoses in my collection yet. Something I just haven't sorted over the years, and it's been a while, so who knows where that went. Other than that, it's going pretty good. Haven't had any other pieces missing in terms of bricks or plates or tiles. Again, these windows do not have the rounded out, what I call the train window. Just making a slight upgrade to these as I build through. That's really the only thing I'm changing from the original. And it's not because I don't have them, it's because the current frame is just better in that regard. So that's how it's looking so far. One more floor to go on each of them. And building this has given me the idea that I might need 2 of these middle floors for the Mediterranean Market Street, which would actually make it taller than the regular one. But for now, I'm just going to build 1 more for each and see what it looks like. It's time to utilize the bin I just sorted. That's right. And they're all in a row. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. That's exactly why I wanted to have this bin here. 1 of each, easily accessible. Know exactly where it's at. That's what sorted Lego is all about, folks. Okay, where are we at? I'm putting on some slopes now for the top floor, and absolutely nothing for the color swap, because the only part of the original Market Street I want to kind of maintain and preserve in the Mediterranean version is the front with the stair step. Everything else in the layout and the back I don't really like. I want to change it. It's going to have windows, it's going to have a balcony, but it's not going to be the same layout as the official Market Street set. So what I'm going to do is build this all the way up first, and then this will kind of move entirely into the MOC realm instead of just the mirror realm of copying sets. For slope angle, I probably will use these. Seems like it's going to be a good match. By the time this is built up and then goes to the 45-degree stair step, these will kind of be behind it all the way up, so I want to do that. Of course, the door is going to be in the same place. The floor is going to be the same, but after that, I'm thinking it's going to be a different build. So we'll see what that looks like in a little bit. I've got the beginning of something blocked out here. I'm going with the 65-degree slopes, and that's just based on trying to get the coverage of this front, the facade, to hide where the slope comes down. So the official Market Street upper story has 3 different, well, all in all 4 different slope degrees, and I wanted to simplify that a bit. I'm going to have the main roof be the 65-degree slopes, and then there's going to be a little setback version, and then in here is going to probably be a larger bay window. There's going to be no balconies, I don't think anyway. I'm just kind of doing the same thing on both sides at the moment. I might put something interesting in the back corner, and then that'll go up, and then hopefully this will all be hidden behind the same version of the triangle done in tan over here. So very basic layout started, same color scheme as the floor below it, and I'm just going to try to build this up and see how it goes. Okay, really happy with how this turned out. The only thing you guys haven't seen yet is the upper story of Mediterranean Market Street, and it's done. Got the lion figure up above the door in my alternate color. I just picked that up within the last month or 2, so that's kind of a cool deal to get there. For the side windows, I ended up going vintage. So if you guys are hoping to build something similar to what's going on here, and since I'm planning to put this on Rebrickable eventually, This will maybe be you know, similar to some of the hard pieces to find on Market Street. You might have a hard time finding these old red windows, especially 1x1x2 out on the ends. Get around to the back, and we've got a little balcony just to look over, just to have something there other than the blank wall, which is what Market Street has. And then another copy of that window design on the other side. Up above, I did add a couple details. I didn't want just to have a bare roof here. So there's a little air conditioner unit, probably for this upper apartment, and then more of a building-wide, maybe central heating or some kind of grid that would be more low profile, just to have a little bit of items of interest up on top. This roof does lift off. We've got the little interior. The only thing I don't really like about this is the proximity of the door to the hole in the floor, which still is not as bad as Market Street, where the door actually opens directly down the stair access. So I'm not sure, you know, the design on that may be a little sketchy, but at least I gave my minifigures a stud of room to walk on there. One plate width to get around the hole. Alright, so that's it. That is the official Market Street 10190 2007 set. Very collectible. If you are going to line up the entire modular range, this is widely considered to be crucial part of that lineup. And we also have my custom Mediterranean Market Street color swap and mirror build, and then the entire upper floor is mostly MOC. So there isn't a whole lot of interior that carried over from Market Street to this one. And even the facade with the stair step I did a little bit different at the end here. Okay, so what's left to do? That's about it for this video. Definitely going to review Market Street, so that is on the docket. Definitely going to look more in depth at Mediterranean Market Street, and probably what I'll do with that is talk about the studio model, the Rebrickable page, and just the details of this mock slash alternate slash color swap all in one video, and kind of roll that all together. And that will be down the road a little ways. I think I'm going to move away from this project for a while. Yeah, just in terms of parts, still need to find these white hoses, so give myself a little bit of time to work on that. And I think there wasn't anything I was holding out on for Mediterranean Market Street. I think all the parts in here I ended up using what I had on hand, so that worked out really well. And good results for this project, the Market Street rebuild and color swap. One more floor on Mediterranean would look really cool, and that might actually put it at the height record for at least the modulars I have. I don't know, overall, probably the police station this year, 2021, is one of the tallest, if not the tallest. So somewhere up in there. Adding one more floor to Mediterranean Market Street would give this significant height to compare to some of the official ones. Alright, well, thanks for watching, guys. I had a lot of fun working on this project, and hopefully you enjoyed watching along. So more to come with both of these items, but that is it for this two-part series. Part 1, just to start off, and Part 2 here today. Top 2 floors and working out some additional details for Mediterranean Market Street. See you guys around.